Welcome, NBA fans, to another episode of the NBA Fast Break Podcast. I am Brandon Brown, joined as always by Ben Stinar here to talk about what's going on in the NBA, things that are moving the needle. We're going to pick a topic here that's going to be discussed for the rest of the season because it's the Lakers, because it's LeBron, and because it's Luka Doncic. He got traded from the Mavericks. I don't know. It happened. What time was it, Ben? Like 11 o'clock at night or midnight or something?
Yeah, I think it was midnight.
Everybody's like, is this real? Somebody's been hacked. There's no way this trade is really happening, but it's officially official. Luka's been suited up and been playing a couple games for the Lakers now. I guess let's just rewind a little bit. Go back to that night. I don't know if you were awake still or not because it was pretty late, but were you like everybody else? Like, there's just no way. Like, how is this happening?
Yeah, I think that initial glance, I was really shocked. And it's weird. Once I got over the Luka surprise of it, like obviously that's number one. I'm not even gonna have a contrarian point there. Like that's number one. but the really like when it really hit me, I'll say when it hit me was seeing Anthony Davis has been traded from the Lakers. I don't know why. That's what like made it real to me, right? Like it's like whoa, like AD's not a Laker anymore because you kind of had this feel like even though like it wasn't perfect. You had this feel like AD was just going to be a Laker until he was done, right? Until the wheels kind of fell off on him. You know, like he's been beat up a little bit, but you just had this feel like he was just going to be a Laker until he wasn't an All-Star anymore. And that's when it became real for me.
Yeah, let's talk about AD just real quick because I mean he's a huge name in his own right. He goes to Dallas and he's hurt and he's done. Like it just if you're a Dallas fan, you just feel like you felt like your heart was already ripped out losing Luka at 25 years old. Like, okay, well, we get AD. He pairs pretty well with Kyrie. Like, let's see what this looks like. And now he's done for the year. Like, just thoughts on Anthony Davis getting hurt again, being out again, and now that trade just seems like what a blow for the Mavs.
Well, as you mentioned, you said out for the year. I mean, I don't even know if anyone knows. It's so bizarre.
Yeah, that's true.
I think that they're just. I mean, I think that maybe what you said off the cuff there might actually be more what it could be. I'm just guessing. But the way they've been so kind of secretive, quiet about it, you'd think if it was a 2-week injury, they'd run out and be like, he'll be good. He's going to be here. We're good for the playoffs. But just, it sounds like nobody's even Shams reported something like a few weeks ago. And it was like, he might be out for a month. But it's like, it's been very peculiar how quiet it's been. So to get back to your original question, though, I think he's a great fit with them, but it's just always the AD thing, right? It's like he tries to take care of his body. I mean, he does what he can, but it's just something there is kind of fragile. I don't know if that's something he can control, but it's kind of followed him throughout his whole career.
Yeah.
Then you look at a guy like Jokic and you look at a guy like Towns, and they've been able to keep it really healthy. So I don't know what it is with him, right? Because like you think, okay, his body can get beat up, but you look at a Jokic. I mean, what he does every single night with his body, he stays fine. I'm never questioning somebody's injury. I'm just saying, like, you get what I'm saying. Like, Cat's been able to stay pretty healthy. He really carries a big load every night. Like, it's just bizarre that AD's never been able to just like. I know he's been better the last couple of years, but it's just like you always have this in the back of your head. But if he's healthy,
yeah. You just assume that he's going to get hurt at some point. Like it just always seems to happen. Some people it just seems like a snake bitten thing. You see it in all sports. I mean, there's dudes you can identify in every sport that for whatever reason they just can't stay on the field, the court, the ice, the whatever. Yeah. It's just one of those. Barkley calling Anthony Davis street clothes for a couple of years. They're like, it is what it is, man. And now the Mavericks are just like, oh well, there goes that. But okay, so back to Luka, back to LeBron, back to the Lakers. I saw the trade, and I'm like, okay, it's Luka. He's incredible. LeBron's still doing what he's doing at 40 is insane. I'm exactly 6 months older than LeBron. I don't know how he's functioning the way that he is. It blows my mind every day. But they're very ball-dominant guys. I know he's changed his game up 50 times throughout the course of his career to do whatever he needs to do. How do you think it's going to work? I mean, like, is this a much better setup than when AD was there? Like, are they suddenly, I don't know. It just doesn't seem like the best fit in the world to me, but it is still two of like the best players ever with the ball in their hands.
I've gone back. It's a great question. And I like your points there. I've gone back and forth. I've really gone back and forth. I've gone to like, they might miss the playoffs to like, hey, they're actually better suited to win a championship this year. So I think that the best thing I can say while you're asking that question is like, I think that their ceiling is higher, but their floor is lower. Is that a good way to put it?
I like, yeah, it makes sense.
See, with AD, you're gonna healthy bearing, of course. You're gonna get to like that first round. You know it. You're gonna at least maybe put up a fight in the first round, right? I could see with Luka them imploding and they miss the playoffs, or I could see Luka just going berserk in the playoffs and then they're somehow in the finals, right? So, like I said, I think AD is the safer bet. to like do something. But I think Luka's like the better lottery ticket than maybe they win it all this year.
I think that makes sense because Luka's kind of like that by himself. Like he could give you a 50 ball, or if it doesn't really work with him and LeBron, he might not score 25 or 30. Like it might not be a great fit. And not, honestly, Luka, he gets a little dinged up at times. Like, so you never know with the trade like that. I mean, it's a huge name. He's 25 years old. You could make an argument he's not even at like his physical prime yet. I mean, guys usually hit that right about now, 25 to 28 maybe. It was just a huge trade that obviously sent shockwaves through the entire league. Last thing, and then I'll kind of get you out of here. LeBron, obviously, you'd think he's coming to the end of his career. I guess we'll let him go as long as he wants to go. But what does this look like for Luka and the Lakers? And I mean, is this it for him? I mean, you thought Anthony Davis was probably going to finish his career there. Do you think Luka will?
Luka, not LeBron. Luka.
Luka, yes.
Yeah, I think so. I think there's always going to be like whenever someone can be a free agent, you're always going to hear something, whether it's just for leverage purposes, whether it's just for, whatever the case may be. There's always going to be some rumblings, but where's he going to go, right? Like, where's he going to go at this point? I mean, he's not going to go back to Dallas. So, a lot of teams, not that everyone wouldn't want to take him, right? But he is a player that he is your system, right? Like, so remember the Harden quote, "I am the system." He is that Harden version of like So if you have a team, put it this way, if you're the Timberwolves, you can't just add him in the way you would be able to maybe like how they traded for Gobert, right? Like, so that's why I lean toward, probably he's a guy. It's almost like a quarterback in football. You can't just pick up and necessarily trade him right away. You have to revamp your whole system for him. Right?
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's why I'd lean toward yes. And then, of course, the Los Angeles big market, who he is. I mean, the only thing that could possibly go wrong is they can't build a team around him, but I just don't see that happening in Los Angeles if it wasn't necessarily Luka's fault, per se, that they didn't do well. Like, they're going to try to build the team around him, and we'll just have to see what he does. I agree. I think they're going to do that. I will ask you one more question, too, before the last one question we got. I wonder, you just thought about this when we were talking about it. You know how the Mavs have talked about, and I don't necessarily agree with the Mavs, the way they went about the trade, what their gamble is, right? But I just thought of something, too, and you said, he's back to his physical prime. Do you think that there's anything where he played pro basketball at such a young age? He won the MVP in the EuroLeague. Is he actually more like a 29-year-old than he is a 25-year-old? I just thought of that just off the cuff. I just thought about that.
It's like
he played real basketball at like 16.
It's like the running back thing, right? Like guys who carry the ball a ton in college, like the NFL teams are a little scared. They're like, well, he's like a third-year player, even though he's a rookie or whatever. Yeah, I don't know, and Luka plays a way that's not like, it's not super high impact. He's not the fastest. He's not flying through the air. He doesn't fall down all that much. He's not playing above the rim. His game isn't predicated off of pristine athleticism, but he has been dinged up a decent amount for a young player, and for a guard even. I think it's you see 7-footers who bang around in the post all the time, like an AD or like some of these bigger guys who have knee and foot problems. Embiid, comes to mind. That's interesting. I've never really thought about that with basketball players, honestly. As much as you hear in football, that's much more contact.
Because they usually don't have his background, right? They usually he won the EuroLeague MVP at 18. It's just a thought. I just thought he was really banging with the big boys at like 16, 17, 18 years old. So I don't know if he's got a little more trim in the tires is all I was just thinking about.
That is an interesting thought. It's funny because I thought of another question as you were talking right there. If you want to take us out of here, you said LeBron. Well, I was asking you, is Luka going to finish his career as a Laker? You like LeBron? So what about LeBron? What do you think he's got left in the tank at 40? Just turned 40 at the end of December. He's obviously on the team with his son. I mean, that was a huge story when that happened. What do we see for LeBron as he's coming down the stretch here? Because he has to be. I mean, he's still doing it at a high level, but man, it takes a toll when you're that age.
Yeah, it's weird. It's hard to put my finger on it because I can't always think like, are we getting distracted by the glitz and the glam of it's the Lakers, it's LeBron? Like if this was because he's going to get his stats just because he's LeBron. But if you just kind of like zoomed out and you were looking at another player, right? I don't know. Would we think of? I'm saying this at a bad time. Lakers playing really good basketball the last couple months.
Yeah.
In general, like at the beginning of the year, he didn't look great. Like he didn't look great, right? I think that if this is where the Luka trade comes in handy. I think that if he can actually take a back seat, this guy could play for 5 more years, maybe win a championship again, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if he will, but I got a better way to phrase this because he is still a top 20 player, clearly. I don't think he can win you a championship anymore. I think he can be like the Luka gets you there and he can win you that game 5 in the finals. He can win you that Western Conference game 7. But I don't think you can just ride LeBron's back to the finals like you used to.
That makes sense. That makes sense. Put LeBron at a true 4 and let him go get you 20 and 10 every
exactly.
night.
Just let Luka handle it and let LeBron almost pick his spots.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, like, look, he's going to be able to do whatever he wants. He has earned the right to do that, I think. But it's interesting. Like you said, the glitz and glam. It's LeBron. It's the Lakers. They just got Luka. His sons. Like, there's so many things that aren't even really about what he's doing on the court per se that make that an interesting story.
His name was Cade Cunningham. Do you look at him as a top 15 player right now? Maybe. I'm just posing a question.
Yeah. No, that's interesting. That's interesting. We'll see. I mean, LeBron, 40 years old. How much longer can he play? I mean, you're right.
It's still amazing, though. It's incredible.
If he's your second,
he has such a high bar he set that we look at.
If you make him like your for sure third or fourth option, he probably can give you 5 more years, which is crazy to think about. But will he do that? That would be a big change for him, obviously. So there you have it. Some of the hot button topics out there in the NBA right now with Ben Stinar. I'm Brandon Brown. Thank you guys so much for listening, and we will be back to talk whatever's going on around the association whenever we need to be here. Thanks a lot, guys.